because I was just around at the time, I watched the premiere on YouTube, which meant that I got of the trailer, which meant that I got to read the chat as it was flying by. And the one thing everyone was healing. Oh God, healing. They didn't show it, and I literally, like, they cut to, there's no healing in the whole trailer. They cut to, like, releasing this or whatever. The end of the trailer. And I see the chat going, no healing, thank God. No healing. And then the very last second is her doing her level 2 into healing. Everyone went, ah! And I think that's a very interesting situation. Elena's healing, because it reminds me a lot of another related thing in fighting games with a very similar idea of another healing character. And it really elucidates this... It exemplifies. It really exemplifies this adage that I've heard, which is that players are very good at identifying. Sorry, I would actually update it a little. The one I've heard is players are good at identifying problems and bad at presenting solutions. I would say players, even more than that, I would say players are good at identifying their emotions, but not always good at identifying the root causes of the emotions or presenting solutions. And that's why, because they can't identify the root causes. What I'm saying is they have to go to therapy. They need to go to therapy and interrogate the situation. So Elena is this, as I mentioned before, infamous meta monster. She is like the turtle of all turtles in Street Fighter 4. And what everyone points to as what made her broken is her healing. So Elena's Ultra 2, I think, in Street Fighter 4 is healing. She heals a little bit of her life back. If you don't know, the Ultras in Street Fighter 4 were like the game's main comeback mechanic. So it was a separate bar of like a super meter style bar that filled up as you took damage. And blocked, I think? I guess you take a little chip damage. It fills up as you take damage, as you get beat up. That's the main way. So Elena's Ultra 2 was kind of the culprit, and that kind of absorbed a lot of the hate, and people have like these nightmare flashbacks about how much healing she would do. And it's true that, yes, there is an inherent problem with that because it's a healing super, and you get to do it when you get beat up, which means that even despite the fact that she had like, I think, slightly lower health than the average character in that game, she would actually have effectively, in practice, more health than the average character because she would heal back. She had like 1.5 life bars, essentially. Or 2, I don't know. I don't know how crazy you would get. Like, you could do healing like 2 or 3 times in a set. And everyone points to that as the one thing, but I think it's misunderstanding the root cause, which is that the healing is the cherry on top. There's a story from the development of Killer Instinct 2013, or I guess the active development of KI, where I don't remember what season, but at some point in KI, Jago, the main like Ryu type character of the game, was really strong. And everyone was pointing, all the players, hey, they said nerf Jago's healing. Every character, it's actually very similar to Elena. KI also has a sort of comeback mechanic called Instinct, which is like a thing that you can pop once a round. Does it fill up? I haven't played KI in a bit. But it's every character gets some kind of unique instinct thing that like buffs up one of their gimmicks or something like that, or just gives them some kind of a bonus. Jago's lets him heal, and people were like, the healing on Jago is too powerful, you need to nerf it. And they looked at the situation and the character, and they decided that the problem wasn't really that Jago's healing was too good. It's that Jago had no significant weaknesses. He was basically a flawless character, right? He was a master of all. He had really good tools for controlling space at any range. He had good close buttons. He had good mid-range buttons, like good pokes and stuff. He had a fireball that he could zone from full screen with. He had good defensive options because he had like an invincible uppercut type move. He had multiple anti-airs in that style. He could close the gap very quickly with his wind kick, which is sort of like the Tatsu just flying kick move that he had. He could close the gap very quickly, which meant that he could confirm off of stuff from mid-screen very fast. He did good damage. It was just the character had no real significance. If he was on offense, if he was on defense, if he was at any point in the screen, he could do something pretty strong. And what players were actually feeling was, you're fighting this uphill battle the entire time. The entire time. You have to fight this master of all type character. And you finally beat him up enough, and you're getting kind of close. And then he pops Instinct, and you literally watch your progress vanish in front of your eyes. It's like you're watching time roll back. Different kind of roll back. And that feels terrible. If his Instinct just made him deal more damage, or if it just made him take less damage, I think that would psychologically be way less damaging than the healing. Loss of progress in QA, when they're searching for bugs, they categorize bugs in different classes like A to D, with D being like, I think they call them shippables, of like, this is fine if it makes it in, we can get to it, but it's a last priority type of thing, to A, which is, we need to fix this now. We need to fix this immediately. Any kind of bug that erases your progress is immediately class A. Immediately. It's elevated to that level. If there's like a random spot in the game where you can do something and it crashes, and then when you boot it back up, you've lost like you're back to like the previous save or whatever, or it erases save data progress, immediately fix that shit now, programmers. Fix it now. Because from a user experience, from a player experience, I mean, it's not even just video games. Like if you're working on something and you lose like a chunk of it to like a computer crash, it feels so bad. It feels so bad. And something like Jago's healing or Elena's healing is that in like game design. It is the removal of progress. Healing is less frustrating in other genres, like say a MOBA, maybe an MMO, like PvP, I guess. Namely because they are kind of designed around healing. When you're designing a MOBA, you tune a character's, like a support's healing to hopefully kind of be in line where like they have healing. It's something you have to consider. You might have to target the healer. But generally damage can kind of keep up with healing a little bit in certain circumstances. That's kind of like where most devs try to balance. In fighting games, healing is very rare. So that's not like a common thing that you have to deal with. And Elena is essentially, the real problem with Elena in Street Fighter 4 is that she has incredibly safe long-range normals that if you like even block them mid-screen or anywhere on screen, she can instantly put you into like multiple consecutive guessing games. And then if she hits you, which she's like honestly pretty likely to do unless you are extremely like good at guessing or reading the opponent, she's just gonna like maybe not even advance on you, but just keep turtling. She's just gonna keep playing defensively. She has an uppercut. She has like a DP scratch wheel to anti-air you if you try to jump at her. She's just super safe. She's super safe. She has incredible reward, and it's a complete off, like the balance of risk to reward is super off. So when you're fighting, when you're just trying to get in and just trying to do anything against her, and you finally kind of gotten her down to like 30-40% life, and then she just gets one hit and knocks you away and goes healing, and then she heals back like half of it, and you're like, fuck. And that's the emotional cinch that just kills you. It's just excruciating from a player perspective. It's a terrible experience.